Sometimes we get files with wonky formatting, and it's helpful to be able to look behind the scenes and see exactly what's gone wrong with it. Sometimes it happens because the person creating the file used a different program and the translation was wonky. Sometimes it happens because they think it's a typewriter and they're using old ways. And sometimes it happens because the material has been copied from somewhere else. That's a good indicator that it may require attribution. There are a couple of ways to look at the formatting in the background. One is an icon right on the home ribbon, not on view for some reason, but on home, and it's right here in the very middle. It's a Pilcrow. It looks like a backwards P. When I tap that, you'll notice that all of a sudden I have a whole bunch more characters on the screen. And I also have my accessible keyboard showing up for some reason. The Pilcrow at the end of each line tells me that that is a hard return. When I see a little arrow, like at the right here, looks a little bit like the old symbol on a return button, that tells me that I have a soft return instead of a hard return. So that's a line break rather than a paragraph break. So that's causing some funky spacing, and I can get rid of that simply by cursoring over to it and pressing delete or backspace. I can see here there's an arrow at the left of the screen. That is a tab mark. I see the same arrow here beside the bullets, but I can't select it because it's a bullet feature, and I can tell that's on because the bullets are shaded in the ribbon. But here I can select it. Someone has typed in a tab space. I can just select that and then type over it to get rid of it. Every little dot is a space. I'm going to zoom in on that. The space is a dot. Unfortunately, these are black in this version of Word. Maybe it'll change. It was a lot easier when they were gray. Right now it's a lot of visual clutter. So I can see this person has typed a whole bunch of space marks instead of using a tab. So I can just double click on them to select the whole set and press tab to get rid of that. And you'll notice here that I have no tab mark, even though I can still see the tab marks up here. And if I press the tab key here, it shows me the arrow saying I have a tab. What Word has done, and it's showing me it has done, is used the ruler or first line indent feature to indent this line rather than adding a tab mark. Different versions of Word handle it different ways, so I often get documents that have half done like this and half done manually with a tab mark. I can also see that there's an errant paragraph mark here. I get that a lot when I'm working on files made in the program called LaTeX. You could just place your cursor in front of that and delete it. And if you want to get information about the characters themselves, so first of all, I'm going to turn off this reveal show hide formatting because it gets a little confusing. If I want to know what a particular character is, you can use the reveal formatting that's a little bit more like it was in WordPerfect, if you remember back that far. You have to use a keyboard shortcut for this. It is Shift F1. And if your F keys have been assigned to things like screen brightness and volume, you're probably going to have to press the function key as well to make this work. So a little finger yoga. It takes me 2 hands. And now I've opened up a pane called Reveal Formatting. So on this, whatever word I select or character I select, it will tell me what font it's in and the formatting that's set for it. So for instance, if I click up here, it's going to show me now we have heading 1, font, language, etc. This is really handy if you have special characters in a file, say an umlaut or an ohm symbol, or you have a strange character you can't identify and you're trying to figure out what it is, or need to leave a note for production alerting them that it's there and needs to appear properly. So that is Shift F1 to get at that. I also notice right here in my date there's no space, and if I click on Reveal Show Hide Characters, I can see there's no space, so I can type a space in there. And here I can see there are 2 spaces, and it's at the end of a line, so I can get rid of both of them. There is a link to a bunch of special characters in your manual, and this is one that you may notice. It looks like a degree symbol. I typed it right there between the 2 color words, and what this is a non-breaking space. So this is especially handy when you have, for example, a unit of measure and you want to make sure it's never going to be broken apart from the value from the unit. You might see a non-breaking space. I can tell it's not a degree symbol because when I hide the special characters again, it disappears. But if you're looking at a document and it's full of these non-breaking spaces, like that, that may also be an indicator that the material has been copied from somewhere else. These are common when you're copying from a website or from a PDF, which may indicate that the material needs proper attribution. But it definitely needs some fixing so that it gets produced correctly by the graphic art